since day one, I think, the break shot.
Yeah, seems to consistently get a look on the blue. Just like
WNT Tour last year. Really made a lot of noise. Big win, Hanoi Open, runner-up at European Open. Of course, what makes you saw for them to get into this final 10 and maybe they make a move?
Well, my guess for you would be Yap. That's my guess. But for
And I think that the setting and maybe getting too worried about these races to 5 at first, you know, you realize it's a race, his first 3, and made up as much ground as anyone.
yeah, it felt a little.
Yeah, really good. And another tester here, though, for sure.
Yeah, kind of a blind ball that you're going to, never easy. Speed was what that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you get a little, you might get on. Of course, these aren't the toughest tables I think we've had on tour, but they're very demanding. So I think if you can lead. Watch out, cue ball. It needs a help here. Yeah, and I think if the 4 was a little more open, because he's got to play odd position on the 3, even with ball in hand. If the
Yeah, and once again, you see the pockets, right? You don't.
All right, the 2's upstairs kind of by itself. That's always a good sign. Just that tournament was next week. He just looks as in form and consistent.
Look out here. That cue ball bent on him, and you, with the bridge going to the top left. Yeah, that's not going to get it this time.
No, and looked like he. Yeah, that camera view when he was looking made it apparent that going forward's pretty odd. It is doable, but I like the draw stroke.
Wow, he got into it well. I mean,
With him here, I'm not saying I didn't see it at times elsewhere, but I think the alternate break, I think the shorter races, matches as a big favorite early. You know, you're trying to find maybe getting into that rhythm, a gear, you might call it, because he certainly can have that. All right. You know, somewhat of a grind feeling, I think, for most players, and that's going to rub off on a young Kledio or a young AJ Manis, and don't lose that flair.
yeah, a little reprieve here for Kledio after a pretty severely overcut 6-ball. Extreme shot here. This type of shot will get you going if he hits it nice and clean. Give him a little confidence. Just punch one rail out. Oh, he likes drawing up towards it. I feel like that's pretty
How much you can really move it. But again, like we talked about yesterday, what I see with him is he really has kind of all really do wonders moving forward for young Kledio Kaci.
Well, you said something.
You talked about, he's going to get him on the rail here. Key to cut off easy. This is not like a cold-blooded hanger. Cue ball has too much speed. If you get too thin, has not enough speed, something like.
It didn't really ever seem settled, and it was makeable with 2 rail of 4 towards the top left.
Or towards the side. Or top left, like that. Yeah, it just depends on how it's sat, right?
Exactly know where the pink was going to finish there. I mean, that was okay. This is
Maybe the most demanding shot he's had in rack number 3, or 4 rather.
here. Maybe the equipment been cleaned up a little bit for today.
Yeah, we got some moisture in the air. Been raining ever since last night. A few of the players had commented that seems the tables had slowed. Talked about Yap earlier. I do expect him. You know, you hardly ever try to say perfect pool, but very tidy with the cue ball, and he's had some money.
Oh, no, that's really one of the better hits he's had.
Our left English here to open the cue ball.
Yeah, you just don't want, yeah, and he's highly aware of it. You just don't want to have to overhit this ball and come somewhere toward.
The purple near can handle a ton on the pink.
Extend the lead after 5 games.
Yeah, and, you know, mathematically, I think it only to really hurt you trying to make that final cut.
Almost seems. All right, look out here. Think. But it kind of seems to be the case. We talked about another player earlier in the week, and maybe it was Sanjin that didn't want to probably end the night. And just a little bit cold coming in. I expect him to get better throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, and, you know, 2 missed.
All right, keep your eye on the cue ball and see if it tracks 2 rails. There we go. That's the kiss JJ was talking about.
All right, 2 rails above the pink here. No reason to flirt with that ball.
Yeah, I think he might have just got into the cue ball.
Make things easy, get into the 6.
Really good look at how effortless and natural the young man can be.
Yeah, well, through the years, of course, he's not quite as big as older brother, but through the years, the pro scene, the taller guys, usually those smart guys are right. A guy that sounds like a hair of an underdog usually wins most of those matches, even against a big name or. Yeah, that's just the safest play. You really come 2 rails and go at you. All right, he's got to ease this off the second cushion. This has got to slow down a little bit. I think it's going to be all right, but he needs an angle. Just because all that power and natural ability, I think that gets overlooked. So, uh-oh.
Yeah, I always felt like this was a concern. That's why I did touch on taking a cut, possibly.
Banking it, maybe. Hard to tell.
Okay, I get why he banked it.
It wants to get away from the pocket. Good smart shot there, and by design trying to go into the 7.
Clean. Oh, and it was.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get another look, but
yeah, does he go towards the green here?
Yeah, you got to bump it. Off the left cushion. He may have to play just from underneath. Okay, he could get some draw. Nice shot. A shot that's. All right, a routine 9 ball for Johann Chua. It's like he starts second stage. Both these players will be back today, along with more PLP in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.